Bacha Nation wear. And it's honestly, I think women dig more in chiges, right? So I go design it out. I had a friend from school. I tell him there's this idea. What is a graphics designer? This is what I think. So he creates the logo. And when he creates it, at the time he was in Mauritius, yeah? He creates the logo. The logo was so beautiful. So I was so excited. So I take the logo, it was a Wednesday night. Now, of course, me and Biaru have become friends. Life is good, yeah? I go to Biaru that Wednesday evening with excitement. I open the phone, I show him, I like, see my logo. So he's like, what? You have a logo? I'm like, yes. Now me, I'm excited. Now I'm trying and somebody's looking at me. I'm like, okay. He's like, man, you're very serious. Do you know we started Rock Telecom and we really didn't pay attention about the logo? And then like, but you've not even done it. I'm like, okay, this is becoming serious, you know? So he's like, so what's the plan now? I'm like, no, I'm going to talk to, we have a friend, my best friend, he's a lawyer. So he's called Ferdinand. I'm like, no, I'm talking to Ferdinand on Monday. I want to see if I can register it. What? He's like, do you have a partner? I'm like, no, do you want a partner? I'm like, yeah. And that's how we kick off. And then it's like, you know what's interesting? We do Bacha Nation, and then we look for all these other guys. They do different cultural things, and then we do One Nation.
Welcome to the Success Theory Talk Show. I'm your host, Dorothy Kamarunga. Today we are joined by an entrepreneur in Uganda that has literally been a giant. He's a cultural eventpreneur. He is amazing. He is somebody you'd love to literally meet in person because he is literally a think tank. Very dedicated to the work that he does and a genius at what he does. Welcome to the show.
That introduction. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Tell us more about yourself. People would like to know, who is this person that I've been talking so much and so highly about? Who are you? Where did you go to school? Perhaps, where you're comfortable sharing.
Yeah.
And, everything that you would like to tell us about you.
All right. I am Owen Katwesi Jabigombe. I'm Chiga and Ugandan. Born again Christian. I live in Uganda, Kampala. My roots date back to Kabale, in a place called Nangara. But later my grandparents shifted through Kanungu and settled in Kamwenje. That's Fort Poto, still in the western part of the country, in Toro region. School, I went to Owen Road Primary School.
Did you own that school?
No.
Your dad owned it?
No, I did.
What a coincidence.
Then Shimoni demonstration. Okay. It's now an office block and mall. But it's okay, we move on. Yeah. And then to Nagalama and then East High. I studied at university, Uganda Christian University. That's where I graduated with a bachelor's in information science. That's about it about school.
Okay.
Yeah.
Information science, that's quite interesting. So when do you take a turn from what you studied to what you're doing now? Can you give us the journey where it started and to where you are right now?
I think what I studied, I practiced it for 4 months. And then I realized it was not working. Not because it was bad, but I don't think I was the office sit down kind of person. I want to be all over the place doing this, doing that, being limited by space, it was not working for me quite well. Yeah. It was not easy.
So
anyway.
information science, what does it entail?
So it's library and information science, but then you major in information science.
And
So basically, you would be working in a library, in a media house,
Wow.
in any company that has got to do with information. Yeah, information gathering. Yeah, in a data center, you will be there, which is pretty much everywhere in every organization right now. You need a data center to keep all your records, all your data, so all your analytics. So that's what I would be doing now if I took on that career path.
so how long did you work, like after school, after university?
My working background started in senior 2. I was a cameraman.
Wait.
Yes.
Okay.
So okay, like real working goes back to primary, because my dad is a mechanic. So at the time he was still in full employment, so he would be working but take on side gigs whereby the backyard was his workshop. So we would leave school because we were in day school. We come, make sure you've done your homework at school, so that in the evening, you're going to be working with Muzei. So you're under the car, you're bringing this spanner, you're doing that. Okay, maybe the payment was the bread we used to enjoy, but we're also working. But the real working where I say I earned some money was senior 2 when I was a cameraman for weddings, parties.
And what inspires you to now start being a cameraman in senior 2?
I honestly don't know. But there was a family friend. He was called Friday, I think. He used to take pictures, yeah? And somehow at every function he would be there. So he was making money.
So
I was
you wanted money?
So I was like,
in
even me, I
senior
can
2?
make some money.
For what?
Make some money.
Okay.
So my mom was the booking agent. Apologies to whoever I did functions for in that period, because I don't really remember what I was doing. But I was doing
but you
work.
tried.
Yeah, so I would literally go to town, hire cameras from Wilson Road, come when my mom has done the booking. Of course, it was just her friends, relatives, those kind of things. Of course, there were not so many. It's like
And that
one
time
wedding.
you're living in Kampala?
Yes, we're in
Not
Kampala.
Kabale.
No. We moved. My parents are the ones that lived in Kabale, but moved.
Okay,
Yes.
to Kampala.
Yeah. So I would do that in the holidays, and then editing, go find a person who can help me edit, blah, 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 like that. But I loved cameras, yeah? So that's senior 1, that's senior 2, senior 3. Then I joined I perform Miracle Center,
Okay.
Rubaga. So I joined the media team. So now I'd be holding cameras in the church. So I moved from being a cameraman to a production assist, to a director, to a programs director, blah, blah, blah. I started having my own shows. Yeah.
Oh, you mean at the Miracle Center TV now you started having your own shows?
We pretty much started the TV station.
Wow. Like, were you in the think tank team? Like, I guess.
No, like doing these other things.
Okay.
What programs are we going to
Executing.
have? Because we were in the media team of the church. So when the transition came, it was just, we're basically the same people. You people are already doing this, now you're doing it as a TV station. Yeah.
So you transferred what you were doing in church on TV?
Yeah.
Okay, so after now you graduate university, you did, you said information science, right?
Yeah.
Did you work? Did you get a job?
3 months.
And why did you quit? Oh,
Man, if you've been trying to look for some money from senior 2, and now you're seated at the desk, you come in the morning, 8, you're there.
yeah.
5, like there are all these other platforms or avenues you can get some revenue, but you can't do them because
You have to be
you have to
behind
be
the
at
desk.
work.
Yeah.
It was not working for me.
So it was not for you. Do you feel like it was because of who you are, like in your personality, or was it because you are hungry to make more money?
No, I think it's just, I just can't do one thing.
Wow. So you're like a multi-passionate. You're multi-passionate. You're a multi-potentialite, or you're all of those things. Yes.
All these big words.
Okay. So now you
So-
leave your job.
So what I don't know how, but I always find time and room to do something.
And you rather be doing many things than doing one thing. You function
Yes,
better.
of course it's not the best.
No, I think
there's going
it's-
to be a lot of fallouts here, a lot of mistakes, a lot of all that. But with time, you learn to cope, and you learn to say, you know what, let me bite what I can chew.
At a time, like
Yes,
yeah.
I don't have to do A, B, C, D. And also, if I'm going to do B, it's there where I can do it indirectly. That's through delegation, and still achieve what I want.
So when you quit your job, what did you do? What was your first step?
Well, even when I was having that job, I was still working in the TV station.
Oh, at Miracle Center.
Yes.
Okay.
I
They
still
were
working
paying
the-
you.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it's for free.
No.
I thought it's like charged. You know.
No.
Okay.
They were paying us.
So you guys are like on a payroll. You're still earning money from the church.
Yes.
And now you had your job, but you wanted to do something more.
Yeah, but and also I would get, like, you're supposed to be doing, it was in the middle of like the crusades, so you're supposed to be traveling, but now it's for asking for leave. Give me 3 days. It was too hectic, yeah. But yet I loved doing
You loved that more than the office work.
Yeah. So after that, while I was doing that job, then I became a driver.
A driver.
Yeah, like
Where?
drive, sit in the car, and you drive people.
Like at a company or you
Yeah, at a
freelancing?
company. At a company.
Wait, you become a driver now?
Yeah,
Uh-huh. Oh my God, this is so interesting.
yeah. So
So as you're doing the job, you get another driver job,
yeah. Now
and
at
then
the
now
church.
you have the church job also.
Now at the church. Okay, now it was such a thin line being a cameraman in the church and also being being a media team, working for the television, yeah, and also working on the media team for the
Yeah.
church.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we would always
Be driving.
you'd always mix the two. Today you're recording the service, tomorrow you're running out to record news, tomorrow you're running out to do a documentary. It was the same. But then now there were vehicles and they needed to be driven
Still at the church.
at the church. As the only one at the time who had like a driver's license. Yeah? Okay, not really.
Okay, but you were the
Yeah.
one that came up, like when they said we need
I was
someone.
like,
you're
"Me, I can drive."
I can do it.
Yeah, I can drive.
People were like, yo,
Like
no,
our,
like
we
I'm
go.
too cool to
So
be.
now I was not doing two jobs. So I would drive. So now the cost of having to hire a driver, having to hire a cameraman, I was like, no, me, I can do everything. Yeah, I can drive the guys. I set up the cameras,
Yeah.
but I can also produce the
show.
documentary. So, and that's how we kicked off. So I started
So they
doing
were paying
that.
you all these different salaries, like
Of
all
course
these-
not. But
they kind of found a middle ground and
Yes.
gave you one lump
Yeah.
sum like that.
then I progressed now from being a cameraman to now doing just like production, coming up with shows, blah, blah, blah. Then after, I fully now became a driver. Full.
The driver job was paying more than all the others.
No. It was just,
Freedom.
I just found that we're always moving. So now you no longer have time for the camera. Now you're the one who is always driving the guys.
Okay.
Then somehow I'm good at driving. That's what they say.
Okay.
Yeah. Now it went from just me driving. Now I started driving the big people. So now
The
I started
delegates at the church.
Exactly. So now it became now full time.
Chauffeur.
Now I started becoming
Professional chauffeur.
full time in a suit, tie, what clean guy.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, because you see, I was like, actually, during that entire time, most of my friends from school hadn't actually gotten jobs.
Okay.
Now, me during school, I was already working. Yeah.
When you are at uni now.
When I was at uni, I was already working. So during that time, guys are just trying to level up. You know how things
But
are
for you, you're
here.
like-
Things now, I think, are a bit quicker. You know.
social
Then
media.
it was really a bit slow.
Yeah.
So and I had a best friend who is a lawyer. Yeah. So I was always in a suit, yeah, as a chauffeur, but there are people to date that were not with us in school, but the people you'd meet in social circles that call me counsel because they
Because
think
they thought you were a lawyer.
I was a lawyer. Because I was always in a suit.
Would you
yeah?
correct them and say, no, actually, I'm a driver?
I got tired
Oh,
because they were
and
not
they would
taking
not believe
it.
you.
Like, what do you mean?
Wow.
What do you mean? What do you mean? You're driving a
So
nice
now
car. What-
now you've quit your job and now you're a full-time chauffeur. That's where you start your journey. That's where now you become independent. Like after school now, after you finish your degree, you work and then you have.
I was pretty
jobs.
much independent even at campus, really.
Okay.
Yeah, because like hostel fees were mine. Sometimes you chip in on the tuition here and there.
Yeah.
Then I do the chauffeur job, and it was fine, really,
And how long
but
did you
hectic.
How
yeah,
long did you do this?
for a long time.
Like 6 years or 5?
For a long time, like 4 years, 6 years. But then, now because and I think at church is where I learned how to multitask. Because you're driving,
Okay.
but while you're not driving, I can't just be there seated. So I'm doing something else. Yeah, I'm coordinating this. I'm helping out on the protocol. I'm handling this. I'm doing this in the office. Now, I started being now an assistant
To who now?
to the assistant to the pastor. You know that kind of thing. Yeah, because he's busy now. You can sit at his desk and take calls, do this. Then now you're in protocol, right? You're now handling who are the guests coming in, where are the invitations, blah blah blah, all that kind of stuff, right? And you're doing all that while you're doing this. So while the guests or the pastor is in the office, there's no one being driven. So what are you doing with your day? You're doing every other thing else. But I loved hosting. I love hosting.
So that's when you discover your talent or your
Yeah,
gift
because
or passion.
I figured every
hosting.
time we would go out into crusades, that was like my joy, seeing multitudes of people. I'm like, this is a party, you know?
This is it for me. Yeah.
So they give me a club to manage, a French-speaking club to manage. It was just beginning. So they're like,
That's at the church still.
at the church. So they're like, there's this family of kids from Congo.
Okay.
They are refugees. They're just coming into the country. They are Christian. They love the Lord. The girls are young. They love to sing. They can sing very well. The boys love fashion, love entertainment. How can we create
Club. Something
club.
to empower them.
called La Classe? Yeah, meaning it's class.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they would always be smartly dressed, like, you know. And then when we got to interact with them, they were refugees. I'm like, how? Like, I'm here, I'm making some money,
But
I
look
don't
at
look
me.
kawa. You, who is really trying to survive in another country, you're crisp. So we're like, but how many other people are there
Like them.
like them? So the pastor is like, we need to reach out to the Congolese community, but the only way we can do that is by having these people speak to those people. But how do we give them a platform? So they created that platform called La Classe. The only French I knew and I still know is bonjour, bon appetit, and we are done. Even that one, but I don't even know what it means. But I then took up the management of the club. We grew it from just the four people
4 people?
in the family,
Okay.
because they were the faces, man was behind the scenes. We grew it to about 2,000 people
Wow. And that's
In
a
1 year
span-
and a half.
In 1 year and a half.
in 1 year and a half.
And then you say to yourself, what?
No, everything was still cover.
Okay.
So we are blasting, we have French services. All me I'm doing is managing them. Guys, we need to do this. There's this idea. Can
So
we
you
do
were having
this?
French services separately for them.
Yes, as in no, because at church at the time on a Sunday we would have like 6 services, and one of those services was a Luganda service. Another one was a healing service. Another one was an Ethiopian and Eritrean service. So they're like, while we're having Ethiopian and Eritrean services, why can't we add in French?
Service.
So we started doing rounds around Makinde area. We visited church. It was ballistic. I enjoyed it.
Wow.
And then time came, they had to, because they were just here for a few years, a very small period of time, and they were transitioning to Canada. So when they left for Canada, and they were the face of the thing, now were like left hanging. So the whole thing kind of died.
So the 4 people, that were
the family,
face,
yes.
the family.
They moved to Canada.
So their people moved with them because they were
No, not really. But now you see, I don't know the language.
Yeah.
They're the ones talking to them. They're in their communities. Now where do you start from? You know, that kind of thing. So I continued with my job because I was doing that while I was doing the camera work, while I was doing the
club.
the chauffeuring. Well, now in all this mix.
But were they paying you for the club to be the lead, or this was something you were doing out of passion?
It was something
Like
you
an
just
extra curriculum. Yeah.
But in all this, meanwhile, we have a family business, which is a garage, a motor garage
in Kampala.
That my dad runs.
Okay.
And I'm working there
You're
as
still
well.
working there as well.
But in marketing now and administration. So I'm juggling all these things, but somehow I'm leaving, you know? So when this thing ends, I'm there. Then I was like, but if I can do this for French speaking people, can't I do a theme party for Bachiga?
Wait.
In a bar.
That's where Bacha Nation was born. No. This is interesting.
Yeah. So we're
you
like,
think about your people and you're like, if I can do this for French people, why don't I do this for Bachiga? And now,
so back in school, of course, you know, wherever a Mchiga is in this country, in this world, they either called a Chakabale, or they will call you Mchiga. You know, that kind of thing. So, of course, those Chakabale jokes would be there at campus. Yeah. Everyone will know, our Mchiga, Mchiga, Chakabale, that kind of thing. So I had two friends called, one is Gareth Onyang, another one is Nikita.
Gareth.
Yeah. So they had a small bar. Please don't ask how a person in church knows people in the bar.
No. Actually, we live in the
but
same
we
world, so
really,
should know each other.
we really cross borders.
Yeah.
So
Gareth and
Nikita. So they owned a bar in Bakuli called Flames Bar.
Okay.
Now this is 2013.
Okay.
Interestingly, church is in Rubaga. Bakuli and Rubaga is like a stone throw away. So it was easy, yeah. So, but we're on some WhatsApp group together.
So were you meeting at the church? Were these people talking?
No. So we were on a WhatsApp group. Okay. WhatsApp now had just entered. Being in groups was the biggest thing.
Flex.
Like when you meet somebody, you're like, what's your WhatsApp number? Are you on WhatsApp? That kind of thing. It was a cool thing. Yeah. So we had become like a family. So I'd go there. So I was like, why don't I organize a Bachiga themed thing here at this bar? Now, Nikita is a Mchiga.
Hey.
So I'm like, Nikita, let's do this thing. Let me bring my thing. I can bring some turide, somewhat like that. So I had some T-shirts that I had designed that had I am Bachiga Nation. Right?
So the name comes from where now?
Now, Bachiga Nation. So after this whole thing, I was saying I'm going to do something for Bachiga.
Okay.
It's called Bachiga Night. So we do Bachiga Night. Nice. We do it at Flames. Sweet.
The first one.
It was good. It was good. All these people that are celebs now, at the time they were not celebs.
Like which ones?
Speak of Rabadaba. He was upcoming at the time. Rabadaba, Anita Fabiola, the Garethis, the Zahara Toto, Honorable, he's now a Honorable, Mosh.
Mosh, the singer.
Yes.
He's now a honorable.
He's a Honorable.
Oh,
He's a council, I think.
okay.
Yeah. There's a bunch of them. Yeah. DJ Rota. Is it? Not Rota. DJ, he's with the Douglas Rangas on
DJ Roger?
Roger.
Yeah.
DJ Roger. Like all these guys were just the Tulibantu Babulijo, that kind of thing, you know. But they're all very important people right now. They're big people, which is really, really something nice.
Yeah.
Very, very nice.
So all those people came to that Bacha Nation.
Because that's why we would chill.
Hey, at Flames.
Yes. It would bring everybody there. What? But those are now the people that are literally running the entertainment industry right now in Kampala.
So you do your first Bachiga
We do the
night.
first, my first Bachiga
It's
night.
sold out.
And it's where I meet my partner,
You are
Biaro. So I arrive, I'm unpacking my bushera, what? Then Biaro calls me. He's like, I'm around Bakuli. Are you at Flames? I'm like, I'm at Flames.
but he knew you before?
We're all on the same WhatsApp group. So he comes through.
Okay.
He reaches, hey, what's up? Hey, by the way, I'm Chiga. Oh, really? Hey, okay, from where? What? Now, my cousin comes in, and now my cousin knows Biaro. They had exchanged, he had given him his first job, or they had met at his, something like that, you know. So it was a good night, and the day ended, you know. Now, we organized another one at Venom Club at the time. Now, one of my cousins, I call her my cousin, but she's a wife to my cousin, yeah.
Okay.
She's called Charity. So she's like, Owen, this Bachiga thing is nice. But now for us who can't come to the bar, how do you account for us? Because we would want to bring our children and we support you. But we can't come to a bar. So I sat down and thought, I'm like, maybe I do this thing like bigger, make it serious, blah, blah, blah. So I'm home. I go to visit my mom. Now, you know, back in the day, our homes had curtain boxes that would have stickers of scriptures, what. So there's a scripture in Isaiah something that talks about something exalts a nation, yeah? So I, just randomly, just looking at a stick, and then you just keep reading it. So I'm like, nation. So I Google what a nation is, yeah? And it was really straightforward. People from the same area speaking the same language. I'm like, but those are Bachiga. We are from Chigezi, we speak the same language. So I'm like, so a nation is Bachiga, so Bachiga Nation. So that's how the name comes in.
Wow.
Then, of course, months later, I try and come up with, but of course, it was not like instant, like I got a bulb moment and I felt
like
nothing.
Moments of
like
different moments.
I think this can work, Bachiga Nation. I think this can work. This can work. Yeah. So I draw. Now, when I decide to make this thing quite serious, so I draw the logo. Yeah, I'm like, how can I make it seem like something representative? Yeah, so I draw a logo. I draw a woman. Yeah, with a hoe, because Bachiga we are known for digging. So I draw a woman with a hoe. Like, this can work.
I've been actually wondering what inspired the logo. Now I have the answer.
Yeah, so and then the whole thing of the nation is known as motherland. It's a she. So I'm like, so it's a woman digging. So Bachiga Nation, and it's honestly, I think women dig more in Chigezi, right? So I go design it out. I had a friend from school, I tell him there's this idea. What is a graphics designer? This is what I think. So he creates the logo. And when he creates it, at the time he was in Mauritius, yeah, he creates the logo. The logo was so beautiful. So I was so excited. So I take the logo, I go, it was a Wednesday night. Now, of course, me and Biaru have become friends. Life is good, yeah. I go to Biaru that Wednesday evening with excitement. I open the phone, I show him, I like, see my logo. So he's like, what? You have a logo? I'm like, yes. Now me, I'm excited. Now I'm trying and somebody's looking at me. I'm like, okay. He's like, man, you're very serious. Do you know we started Rock Telecom and we really didn't pay attention about the logo? And then like, but you've not even done it. I'm like, okay, this is becoming serious, you know? So he's like, so what's the plan now? I'm like, no, I'm going to talk to, we have a friend, my best friend, he's a lawyer. So he's called Ferdinand. I'm like, no, I'm talking to Ferdinand on Monday. I want to see if I can register it. What? He's like, do you have a partner? I'm like, no, do you want a partner? I'm like, yeah. And that's how we kick off. And then it's like, you know what's interesting? We do Bacha Nation, and then we look for all these other guys. They do different cultural things, and then we do One Nation. I'm like, that's the thing.
So you
and
had
we
the
kick
idea
off.
of One Nation 10 years ago.
Yep.
Wow, that's interesting.
So that's when we kick off, and then everything now starts revolving. Now all this is happening while I am still a chauffeur at church. I'm still a cameraman at church. I'm still working in the office at church. All this is happening.
Wow.
In the middle of all that.
So you're not telling yourself, I'm too big now to be a chauffeur. I even have a logo. Bacha Nation.
Wow. Nothing.
I really love your humility.
Yeah, so it
just
was
blows my mind. Like,
it was very
wow.
it was very, very
You have
interesting.
a logo, you have a partner. You should be like chauffeur. No, everything
Nothing.
you should have.
Because you see, at the time,
Yeah.
I was not looking at it as a big deal. And I keep saying that if I saw what Bacha Nation has become now, then there's a lot more things I would have done differently.
Like
of
what?
course, thank God that I've not done them and I've had to learn, but there are mistakes that shouldn't have happened, for example. So that's how all this comes into play. Then now I quickly sit down, I come up with a rule book, and thank God they sent it to me on email.
A rule book.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Like the things Bacha Nation is going to do.
Oh, okay.
As Bacha Nation. I wrote down a festive, a social gathering. I wrote down, it was like a magazine. I'd really like a small brochure. A social gathering, empowerment of the youth. I didn't even understand what these things were going to mean. Yeah.
But you knew that's what was coming.
Yeah, like would do community activity. All those things were there. But at the moment, while writing those things down,
you were just writing.
I was just writing. I didn't understand how powerful they were.
I guess it was a download, like
divinely. Yeah. So I was like, we need to have a talk show, a media talk show. We need to have things to do with farming.
So you wrote down the vision, everything you could see that Bacha Nation could be.
do. We wrote it down. Years later is when you start seeing these things. Like when you've even forgotten.
But the things are happening.
You're having people with talents, like artists, building their music careers from your stage, from your platform.
Absolutely.
You're having people that were not in media, but because they were influencing your show, now they are big bloggers, people that were like, and that's literally youth empowerment we're talking about, but in the moment it was youth empowerment. Now,
You
me,
didn't
youth
know how, but
empowerment,
you
me,
knew
I
what
thought
it
is we get people, put them in one room, tell them you have to study, those kind of things, Media, like we have talk shows, bichi, bichi, bichi. Right now, we have a podcast, but very few people know that we have an affiliation with Bachiga TV.
Bachiga TV.
Yes, many think it is
Different.
Yeah, but we have an affiliation
There
with
is
Bachiga
Bachiga
TV.
TV?
Yeah,
Where?
in Uganda. It's big online.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's an online TV?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because of all these funny videos about Bachiga R, but all that was all in the rule book, and like things kept coming. Speak about community. Now we perceive ourselves as a community social impact movement. Yeah, that's what Bachiga Nation is really. But at the time, we were just saying, social. You were talking about impact in the community. Right now, just because Bachiga Nation came, in the last 10 years, there's been like a revival of culture,
festivals, yeah.
but by youth.
By youth. That's interesting.
Previously, it was cultural institutions like kingdoms, elders, trying to force us, come here, sit down, learn this,
But now they take themselves.
Now
They
it is
mobilize.
It is the youth that are coming out to celebrate their culture and spearhead the movement. So I'm like, so what if we had not started Bachiga Nation? Because now all these guys all come and be like, they will all look for you. Hi, I am so and so. I'd like to meet you. I would have had meetings. I'll meet you. I have this idea. Like, yes, I want to do something for my people, like Bachiga Nation. I'm like, okay, what do you want to do? They give you the idea. You're like, okay, can you do it like this? Can you do it like this? And the advantage Bachiga Nation has, which is also a disadvantage, is we went through all the bad things.
So now those people don't have to go through.
Thank you. So when they come, you're like, you know what? Do A, B, C, D. And if you're to go back and look at every cultural event that has happened, probably 80% of the cultural festivals that have happened in Kampala, they have all started at Zone 7, where we started. They have graduated to Hilltop, Naguru, where we went. Okay. They have gone to Uma grounds, where we went. Service providers, you will find they are working with the same service providers. They are working with the same sponsors.
So you drew the blueprint. But then I think that shows that, your vision and your dedication is quite outstanding, because most pioneers don't actually stand the test of time. When you're a pioneer, sometimes because you go through a lot of things, it breaks you. But then for you now, you've been able to hold that and still bring up all these other cultural festivals, which is something.
I wouldn't want to say or it was my doing, but you see, and that's where my partnership with Biaru opened up a lot of knowledge, to understand that you can't do something alone and be successful.
I get it.
And then he's such a good partner that he's not going to push things down your throat, but he's going to guide you through
your vision,
opening doors for you, bringing you closer into let's say business arrangements that he's doing, because he trusts you're going to learn through seeing, than him saying you need to do this, you need to do this. I'll give you an example. The first ever event, we didn't have a team, so it was just me, him, and our good friend Fadi. He has suffered with us.
Fadi.
Our company lawyer.
The lawyer, yeah.
So it was like happening next week. Yeah, he calls me. He's like, hey, it was a Wednesday. He called me, hey, come to the office. So I him, he's like, hey, I'm leaving. So we go down to the parking. He's like, so what's the plan for next week? He's like, hey, I'm like, I think I've already talked to the troop. I've already talked to the vendors who are going to bring food. Da, 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 da. He's like, hey, okay. Meanwhile, remember, we don't have money. Yeah?
You don't have money.
We don't have money.
Both
We
of you
literally
don't have
did. We started Bacha Nation. Of course, we were putting in some money.
Yeah, just-
but
but
yes,
not to
but
like
there was
capacity.
no money. We didn't have money in terms of capacity to do this. But we ran Rukunde Gumeho for 4 years, 2 times a year, and people were entering for free. And at
I
no
remember,
point
yeah.
did people come and experience a terrible experience. It was always good. Yeah. But all the money was coming from our pockets. And guys are like, how are you guys even making the money?
You were not having sponsors? Okay, like they were bringing in
Now
small
let me
money.
tell you the first event framework. Yeah. And that's why you learn the value of partnership.
Yeah.
So prior to that meeting in the basement of the parking, he's like, what are we going to do? Do you have money? I'm like, I have no money. He's like, I have no money. Of course, we are not expecting it to be big, you know? Just do something. He's like, but now, first things first, what are the most important things? Venue, food, artists.
Entertainment, yeah.
Artists, what can we do? Venue, let us speak with Zone 7. They are our friends. We tell them we don't have money, but you come, we are going to bring you people. So you'll sell drinks, you'll sell food, you make money from there. So don't charge us, give us a free venue. That was a tick. So now we have a venue. We have food, we have drinks.
And the people are buying the food and things.
So now the next thing is like, how do we get artists? So we zeroed down to our budget. The troop was 1 million. Making the t-shirts was about 1 million as well, which was now 2 million. We're like, we need to pay artists, what. The time, our budget was about 1.5 for all the artists that we got.
For all the artists, how many
Yes.
were they?
You're going to be shocked.
Okay.
So we finish, and then I look at my poster. I'm like, but this poster will not pull people. So I tell him, can I add House of DJs on my logo? He's like, sure. I'm like, okay. Can I add Rock Telecom on my logo, on my poster? He's like, sure, no problem. I'm like, what can Rock Telecom do? We can give you free Wi-Fi. Perfect. Now you have another service. What can House of DJs do? We can help organize the event for you, coordinate the production. Perfect. So I had a friend of mine called Daniel Komunda. At the time he was head of marketing, Coca-Cola. I called the guy, I'm like, but you're a Muchiga, you guy. I know I don't have money. You don't, maybe I'm a small car brand. But can I add the Coca-Cola logo on my thing? He's like, sure. What else, Junior? I'm like, can you give me parasols? He's like, yeah, those ones we have. So when my poster went out, it gave a big
Impression.
event kind of feel.
Wow.
So guys like, but you get serious. He has Coca-Cola. He has all these big guys. It was a Friday. It was Mother's Day on a Friday. It was full. Zone 7 has the biggest night as their band night on Wednesday. They do their shopping for the weekend on Friday. The event was on Friday. Everything ran out from food, drinks. People were so many. Now, because of the vibe, we had very funny artists that we had talked to. The ones we knew Bambi. Now, artists that were known started asking to go on stage and sing.
They had come for the event.
They had come for the event. But because the vibe was big, like, man, can I give me
They're the
2
ones
songs?
asking you.
Give me 2 songs. Now, all of a sudden, we didn't pay any media. By Monday, we're in every newspaper.
And that's because you put rock and...
I don't know how it happened.
Okay, it just happened.
It just happened. I'm there
So
Monday.
people were picking up the...
Yeah, the
poster.
vibe. Because you see, once something is happening, definitely. First of all, it was on Mother's Day.
Oh, 3rd June.
So many people have said, Bachiga are so proud. Why would they do Why would they say they are going to celebrate their culture on a day when everyone is supposed to be celebrating matters? Let me clear the air properly.
Okay.
There are two reasons why I chose that date. First and foremost, it was a public holiday. It was a Friday. Like, honestly,
Yeah.
why not take the
And not
advantage?
everyone maybe is going to.
The second
celebrate.
reason is, first and foremost, not everyone goes to Namugongo. What is everybody doing? Nothing. And also, I'd never heard that Bachiga go to Nambole. I was like, let me organize for them something.
Namugongo.
So it's, while everybody is going to Namugongo, for Bachiga, you come here, you come and we celebrate our thing.
Yeah, it's true.
And that's how it came to pass, really. So there was really nothing where we were trying to
Nothing you were trying to prove.
Nothing
Yeah, it was
at
just
all.
an innocent.
So, and that's how
Judgment.
Rukunde Gume blew up. And somehow everybody stopped. Okay, didn't stop. Everybody failed to understand that Rukunde Gume is the event,
Not Bachiga Nation.
not Bachiga Nation.
Yes.
Everybody was like, Bachiga Nation was the
That's
bomb.
It. That's it.
By the time I got to church, guys like, you had all those people.
On Friday, you're Bachiga Nationing.
Yeah,
On Sunday, you're chauffeuring.
I'm back to business. Back to work. Yeah, so we
So
kept
how did you
growing.
feel, by the way, when the event was sold out and you see this small thing coming to
It
light
was
and being a
interesting,
big
yeah.
thing?
So now, back to the partnership. That meeting we had in the basement. So Biaru says, pull out a paper. We do the layout of what we're going to do for the event. Like, okay, here we shall put the stage. The vendors will be here. The T-shirts will sell them from here. Blah blah blah. Because it was just the three of us, really. Hey, I'm going to talk to. There's a guy called Lam. I'm going to talk to Lam. He was working for House of DJs then. He's going to come. He'll help you on this. What. And that was it. After, he's like, so I'm flying to South Africa tomorrow. I'm like, okay. And I'll be arriving that day of the. I'm like, listen, hold up, wait,
Please don't leave
listen.
me here.
How do you want me to do this thing?
I know.
He's like, listen, venue we are sorted. Like, he literally tried to show me that, listen, we have everything is kawa. But I had not really entered the element and to understand what it means to work around different partnerships. Yeah.
Yeah.
So of course the event happens, and I think right now we have a team of about 32 people. Of that team of 32 people, probably 2 did not attend that first event, but the rest attended that first event, and half of them got roles on that day. Like the first guy arrived at 10, he's called Isaac. He's like, hey, what up?
Okay, he just came to attend the event.
To attend the event. We're on a
now
WhatsApp group
they are
together,
on
another
the-
WhatsApp group.
Okay.
Yeah. But like we didn't know each other. But he was on he's like, hey, Chi, I'm Isaac, Izo. Hey, what's up? He's like, what am I doing? How can I help? I'm like, okay, what can you do? I can manage things. I'm like, take him. He's now the head of logistics and operations.
That's very
So
interesting.
literally everybody, and the way they came, another gentleman called Chief Mugara, he's like a beast when it comes to mobilization. Yeah. And that's what he has been doing since then up to now. He still does the same. It's very few positions that have had different people, but they're still it's like you're just moving this
From
one
one
from here
position
to
to
another
another.
one. Yeah. But we are still the same team up to now.
That is really impressive. Like, I'm just in awe.
So it's not that I have been able to do this. The team has really provided the platform, a good working relationship where all this has come to life. People have gotten married. People have had children. Within the team, we have Bachiga Nation babies.
So the first event now, was it free entrance?
Yes, it was free.
Did you make money on that
Nope.
event? None, zero.
Zero.
Zero. So what then inspires you to move forward with it?
Those are some of the
second
things.
edition?
Those are some of the things I say I wish I knew and learned and probably could be better. Sometimes we have got to appreciate our passion
Yeah,
to do something,
absolutely.
our drive to do things, our vision. But at the end of the day, money will exchange hands.
100. Yeah.
Yes. If you do not put that into consideration,
Yeah.
it's going to swing you.
If you don't consider money,
Yes.
if you don't make it
Yes.
a big deal,
And it swung us.
it did.
I would say it swung me because I was always the cause of the problems. Yeah.
So
My
you were
partner
always
understood this.
the business side, but
Yes.
you were on the
But he
passion
needed
side
me
to
to
understand.
grow and understand it. Because if he kept in the driving seat, I would never understand it. So there were a lot of financial mistakes I made that cost us so much in the long run,
Yeah.
even to this date. There's some relationships that really became sour. Simply because I was caring about, guys, we need to sell, we need to do this thing.
But people are
And
coming and
I'm
they
not
need to be
understanding
paid.
that, listen, there's money, you have to pay
Yes,
things.
for things, yes.
You're saying people should enter for free, but how are you going to pay for production? How are you going to pay the artists? How are you going to do this? And you're not thinking about it.
Yeah.
So it took me a long time to come around it, which was one of my biggest lessons to learn. Yeah.
So you feel like the first event should have been paid for because you had expenses
Of course.
to pay.
All
people would have
events
been
should have been paid for.
100% willing
Actually, we reached a point
when they were the ones
when
asking
people
you,
are like, but
can we
guys,
pay?
like,
Like, what is going on?
can we just pay?
Wow.
What are we doing here? And then moving, like, because it was such a big thing at Zone 7, so the owners of Zone 7 are like, there's this venue, we've just gotten the lease for it, we've not yet used it. I think your event would work better there. Like, what's it called? Hilltop. So we go, I see it, I'm like, perfect. It's bigger, we can do bigger things. I'm saying bigger things. I'm not thinking about the money
to
part.
do the bigger things.
Yeah. But what I could call my turning point in terms of value is when we were at Hilltop for one of the events, and then we were standing, me and my partner, and we're having a Coca-Cola representative on one side and a Pepsi representative on one side, and all of them were talking money. So when like 5 million works, another one is like, Mom, giving 7. Okay, I'll give you 8. May I'll give you 8. I'll even give you an artist. That kind of conversation. I'm like, oh,
There is something here.
so this thing can work.
Yeah.
And then of course we end up going with one who I think we've probably has been our longest serving, if I could look at it.
So that was your first sponsorship deal.
Yeah. And it didn't come cheap for that time.
They
Yeah.
gave you some good amount of money.
10 million.
Like you were like, wow,
I
there
was
is
like-
something here.
I'm like, in my head I was like, because our costs were like 12. So I was like, yeah. Without knowing that in a few more events, our costs were going to be millions of money, not
Absolutely.
just,
Yeah.
right now that same amount just clears like 2 artists. And you really have all these other things to do. So without the team and without the different strategic partnerships,
Yeah.
I don't think we would have reached where we are now.
So when now do you decide to now really think about the business side of Bacha Nation? Like when do you sit down and you're like, people need to pay for tickets, we need more sponsors on board? When do you get serious with the business side?
Well, when we entered debt, yeah, because now it was a good event,
It was.
but
After the event,
You're having
reading.
Doreen saying, by the my money.
Yes.
You've not yet finished my balance.
Court orders.
You know, that kind of
Police.
thing.
Yeah.
So we're like, we need to start taking in people to pay so that we're able to cater for these costs, because now the event has grown. Like, you have no control over it. Even if you say you're going to keep your child at home and they don't study, at some point they will have to go out and go to school, and you'll have to pay school fees. So now we're at that point. People,
And this is like after how many editions? After
after 4 years, like after 8 editions.
four good years.
Yes, like after 8 editions, we reached a point, and the money we could afford for sound system, the sound system was not enough. You would be at the event and you're hearing more voices than the sound system. So like, we need to style up. You know, you'd even look, say, where is the stage? You can't see
Echoes,
it.
right?
Yeah, the voices of the people were too many. So we had to say, now let's really go all out. And then we came, of course there's not much you can charge, especially for a cultural festival. So really 20 was like, let's just do 20. But even at 20, you're barely breaking
Scrapping
even.
the surface. Yeah. Like,
You're barely breaking even. Yeah. And then you're having all these things you're doing. You're supporting this children's home. You're doing that school. You're doing this. You're supporting one of the members who needs tuition to go back to school. Like, all these things have to happen
at the
regardless.
same- Yeah. But
Yeah.
I feel like this kind of event sponsorship would be the best way to go. Like, did you take that seriously? After?
Yes, we did. But our economy has not grown to the level where corporate companies put in enough money in terms of value. Yeah. And there are so many
Or maybe-
reasons
Okay.
to it. Yeah. Because, say, a beverage company
Yeah.
is going to give you, say, 10 million. 10 million for them is, if I'm to put it back to what revenue they would get, if they would want sales, 10 million in soda sales, that's a lot of soda taken, which you cannot guarantee. Yeah. So the most they will be like, okay, let's give you, first go with 3, you know. A brewery, which has good budget, but still, because of the scale of the event, yeah, they still can't pay to that level.
Or is it because the event organizers are not really pitching well to them?
No,
about
it's
the
it's
value?
it's not really about the pitch.
Like showing them the value, not like in terms of maybe post-event sales or
Now that is what you can't
guarantee,
you
but-
can't okay, not that you can't guarantee, you can't track it. You can't say, I came to Bacha Nation and drank a Fanta, and it's the reason when I went back to Bugolobi I ordered for a Fanta.
no. I would say it would be, I saw you are part of Bacha Nation, and because you are supporting this kind of event,
I'll buy
and
your
I'm a
drink.
Bachiga,
Exactly.
I keep buying. I'm now sold to this because
Which is true.
That's like value. That is value,
True.
not sales directly, but creating like advertising.
That would work perfectly well if you have a designated area where you're saying this place as Bugolobi has got 90% Bachiga,
Okay.
and of the 90% of the Bachiga, 60% of them come to my function. When they come, be ready to have a spike in your sales of your products in that area. And then when you actually take time to do the survey, 6 months after that, you actually see the spike in the
From Bugolobi.
That's too much work.
But the Bachiga in Uganda still,
True.
they will be interested because you are
Which is
associated.
the easiest way is you have to probably attach it to like the entire region,
Yeah,
for example.
the Bachiga.
Now that changes the thing, because then you would do something that is called I don't know what it's called, but I would call it product co-branding. Yeah. For example, you say this Coke product or this beer product is going to be co-branded by Bacha Nation.
Yes.
Whereby at that point now the conversation is different. But Bacha Nation is also getting a certain revenue back because they have added value to your product, and then you're selling it in Chigezi, right? And Bacha Nation helps you do the marketing and promotion of it in Chigezi. So in Chigezi, I'm telling people, this is our water, this is our soda. When you go out there, look for Coca-Cola by Bacha Nation, look for Pepsi by Bacha Nation, that kind of thing. Yeah. So you're doing more than just the event. So that's a whole different conversation, which will probably have to go back to like group level, where if it's Coca-Cola, they're seated in Atlanta, Georgia, where they really don't care about a small Bacha Nation somewhere in Africa. You know, that kind of thing. So it is. So we've not grown as an industry to attract that kind of conversation, but
like
we
value,
are getting
like
there.
Selling value. This is the value I hold. So
Yes, but we're getting there. We're getting there. There's that is, what is it? That is 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Now
it's better.
It's better. Yeah. You'll walk into an office to pitch, and somebody will see the value straight up. Like, I know the numbers. I think that could work.
Doing that.
But still, they're not paying you premium. Yeah, they're still not paying you premium.
Perhaps it will get better.
It will definitely get better, but
So,
they are doing a good job.
8 editions. Those are 4 years.
Yeah.
You are doing Bacha Nation for free entrance, and you're perhaps maybe not really breaking even, right?
0.
And you're also not getting a lot of sponsorships on board, so you're what then inspires you
to continue? Like
or
I
what
told you,
inspires you on a daily, like when you wake up and think about Bacha Nation, I have to do another one, what
Okay.
moves you? What is your inspiration? Where does your inspiration
I'm not going to say, those things of, like our motivational speakers. See, I started with an egg kind of situation. Then now I have a chicken farm. But I won't say I wake up and I'm thinking about Bacha Nation and no chance. I think I have bigger problems personally to deal with. But because of the team and being able to plan ahead, now we start planning. Hey guys, this is what we are going to do this year. What's the plan? And then you also accept for people to guide. Yeah, it can't just be you calling the shots. I tried that; it wasn't that successful. So I don't think it's the best advice I would give out. So you grow into it. Then you start again. It comes back to partnerships. Let's say where I was supposed to be spending X amount of money on tents in my budget, can I get those tents from different partners? Okay, beverage company X, you're not giving me money. Fine. Can you give me tents? Can you give me chairs? Yeah. So that I don't have to pay for chairs. I don't have to pay for. So you start doing those swaps. Media company X, advertise, come and get content, come and do what in exchange. Just run my small advert on your TV. Yeah. So a person out there will see it like, these guys are putting in money, but yet you're honestly not putting in money because you're not seeing the money. Yeah. And then that's how you keep balancing it out. It's not like straight on, like I'll be there and have a sleepless night because, oh my God. No, the sleeplessness will be there because you have bills to pay at the end of the day. Yeah.
So what inspires you as a person? Like,
what inspires me as a person is pretty much failure.
Okay.
I hate to fail. I feel like when you fail, you fall back a couple of steps that you're going to redo the steps you had already done, but now you're going to have to do it with extra effort, extra determination, yeah, that is a big problem for me. Because I've failed.
You're tired.
I have really
So you've
failed.
had enough
And
of
I'm sure the failures are still continuing. Because it's life. Yeah?
it is.
But the important lesson is, what are you learning from your failures? So that you don't again make the failures the habit. Because then what are you doing? Yeah? There are people that are looking up to you. If right now Bacha Nation fails, what is happening to the other cultural groups
That came up.
that have come up?
Bacha Nation.
Yeah, what are happening to people, bloggers, who feel they built their career on talking about Bacha Nation or influencing for Bacha Nation? What about those people? You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So when now you
So
look
when
at
you
it
go
from
down,
that
there's many more
angle,
going down with you.
we have over, there are, I think, to be exact, about 38 vendors that vend at the festival. Those 38 vendors, each has a minimum of 5 people that are working, right? If I'm to do a quick math, 35 vendors times 5 people, that's 175 people who are waiting for that one event,
Those 2 days in a
yeah,
year.
to earn a living.
I know.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Let's say each of them has 3 family dependents. Yeah? That is 525 people who are expecting this to happen, and then they have something to go back home with.
So you think so deeply about this thing? Like the way they say your dream is tied into other people's dreams.
There is a
You
person,
believed in that?
recently, when we did a call, guys tell us, your testimony has been 10 years after, you know. A guy is like, by the way, me, I came those ends. I met up a bunch of guys I hadn't seen in a long time. And now we have an investment club with properties and land and what worth X amount of money.
Yeah.
So what if you didn't do Bacha Nation? Maybe they would have met. It's fate.
Maybe they wouldn't have met.
Or maybe they wouldn't have met.
Or maybe where they would have met, they wouldn't have done what they did because they came to Bacha Nation.
Exactly. Yeah. We have couples that have gotten married out of association to Bacha Nation, families that have been brought up. The stakes of failing are really higher. You're
And
like,
succeeding.
you rather have at least 1% of success. At least let me do everything correct. And let me fail at something small. But let me not fail completely.
Challenges. Tell us about the challenges you've encountered.
Partnerships are double-edged. Yeah. They're as powerful as their challenges. So learning to navigate them is very important. Challenges of when you've disappointed a partner, how do you come around and turn it around to gain back their trust? The vice versa. Yeah. Finances. You're paying little attention to the finances, and yet finances are the core of the whole thing. How do you learn from it, and how do you become better? You know, how do you learn how to deal with money? You know, if you're bad at money, can you then find somebody who can handle the money? Okay, for you, you really, really love this thing. Okay, for you, stay in the love of it. Let somebody else handle the money business, because you don't know how to manage both. Yeah. So those are some of the challenges. Challenges like building something as a community. You no longer have control of it. It belongs to the people.
The team.
I think me and my partner are the last people at the bottom of this whole thing. We are literally at the bottom. the biggest percentage of people that have value to this thing are the people that I would call subscribe to Bacha Nation or believe in what Bacha Nation is. The people that come, the people that comment, they follow us, they do what. Those are the owners of this thing. For us, we are down these yeah? But you've got to think and plan for them. It's not easy. Because a guy will tell you, me, I want artist X.
I know.
But artist X was there last year.
I
I want
him
that
decide.
one. And then when you do like, by the way, you guys are not serious. You're very unserious. I don't even know why I'm giving you money. So challenges are because you're dealing with people that are not, you're doing something for people. It is service. For lack of a better word, it is 100% service because it is, the other guys are the bosses.
Yeah.
They tell you what to do. It's not the other way
So
around.
what if you cannot do what they want at that particular moment? Like
You've got to ask God for grace, and I believe, and that's where what has brought us to where we are now is, I'm a Christian, so I'm a believer.
Yeah, definitely.
This was definitely God's
I
making.
have been feeling that way from when we started the interview.
This was definitely God's making.
You're so divinely in tune.
So there's, if it was not for God, you can't handle. So God will give you the wisdom, right? How do I tell Doreen that, you see, artist X came last time, and they are very good, but there's this other artist that will equally give you a good experience, and they're like, okay, let us wait and see that one also. How do you've got to ask God for that wisdom. How do you deal with a partner, a stakeholder that has felt they were either unappreciated in a certain way?
Yeah, because most times
Well, I have put in money in this event as a sponsor, but you've held me at the gate for a whole 30 minutes to bring me my wristband. You're embarrassing me. That kind of thing. How do you come back from it? Yeah. You've had, let me use these two brands. Yeah. You've had Pepsi as a sponsor.
yeah.
And then because they have not done something right, or they are probably not offering what Coca-Cola is offering, you go with Coca-Cola, and then now Pepsi is pissed. Is not happy with you. So even when you have something else to do, Pepsi like, by the way, no, you even threw us out. How you manage all that? Yeah. Honestly, it is God.
Divine intervention.
It is experience on ground, and also learning to deal with people. Because Bacha Nation has nothing to do with me, my partner, or our team.
If the people were not there, then you guys would also not be there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk about rejection. Like, of course, when you are a business owner, an entrepreneur, or even all through the journey of organizing Bacha Nation, you're making 10 years anniversary now. So through the 10 years, I'm sure you faced a lot of no's or a lot of rejection. How do you deal with rejection?
Well, they say it's a hard pill to swallow.
Yeah.
But sometimes the rejection is self-inflicted. You probably messed up.
Okay.
And you've, let's say, messed up a partner, and you've got to go back, and they're like, we can't deal with you anymore. You know, that kind of thing. So, one, you've got to understand why the rejection is there. Yeah? Is it because of you? Then how do you work on yourself? Is it because of the other person's perception of you? How do you change it? Yeah?
So you don't quickly take it personal. You actually literally.
I think we really waste a lot of energy
Yeah.
by taking things personal, because it's not about you.
Who is it about?
It's not about you. When you understand that it's not about you, then you start to logically think through things, which then gives you a better understanding of where the other person is coming from. Yeah.
So you should
whether the person,
understand the person,
whether they are right or wrong. Yeah. first understand. But if your emotions are, you're going to judge them for what they've said,
Yeah.
right? At that point, you're going to become defensive or offensive. And at that point, there's no longer logic. Now it is proving or disproving. And in most cases, it's bound to go the wrong way.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you don't have a guaranteed second chance of a moment with that person or those people. Yeah. So if I meet you and then I pitch to you, I feel I've done the very best of my to my ability, and then you say no, either to my face or after or by your attitude, that is okay. Yeah. But whatever it is I've done to you or with you, and I've gotten that rejection, I should make sure when I meet person Y, I don't get the rejection. So your rejection should be a lesson for me. So if I take it personal and I act irrational, I'm not going to pick the lessons from it, and I'll move the other side as a revenge from here to try and prove that I'm a hard guy, and the other side even get a worse one, and then now, like you're
Becomes Katogo.
yes. So it's just to understand when you get rejected, reflect, think, why? Was it how I was dressed? Is it how I presented myself? Did the person have a bad day?
So do you have that conversation with the person who rejected you, or
No.
first you think with yourself?
Yourself.
Okay.
Yeah. Then you figure out what could have been the problem. But there are a few things you can pick from the room, for example, right? A person is saying no to your proposal, right? Let's say I've gone to pitch for Bacha Nation,
Yeah.
right? I'm expecting you should be able to raise at least, let's say, X amount of money, correct? I know what your products are. I know everything, right? Again, always know. Be knowledgeable before entering a conversation. Yeah? Have enough knowledge about whatever the person you're going to meet is about, so that one, you know how to counter whatever they're going to say, and also be prepared before you go into that session. So let me give an example. It's a beverage company, so you know their products, right? You've pitched, they're like, we are not really interested in what doing any events. That's fine. Okay. But maybe next time. So sometimes the rejection can come and it's okay. Another time it can come and it has come with like disgust in terms of attitude. So you should be able to read the room. So like, okay, this person is saying no because of an external factor. So you now try to dig it out in a wise way. Like, okay, fine. If you're unable to do on a sponsorship basis, yeah, how about we have this package where you can be an advertising partner, yeah, even for as low as something like 500,000. At least you have brand presence. You have now, for any marketing person, their first priority is not the sale, it's the brand. How does their brand stand out? So now start speaking to things that matter to them. You can have full branding rights. Just test it and see if we can have future business with it, right? See how you can, which product do you feel right now speaks to the people that come to my event. You should at that time have had enough knowledge about that set product, right? So if, let's say, it is Coca-Cola, for example, they're saying, right now, Coke, my biggest people that come to my event are university students. There's this thing you're trying to push using Sprite. Maybe you can use Sprite as the brand. You push it. It's more of sports, games, what we can create a game park. You can probably get your service provider who can come set up something for Sprite, and then you do something, bring in your properties. You don't have to spend cash on it, and then do some sales, see how you pick it up from there. That's a different approach to rejection from when unfortunately we do not have okay, next time,
So that used
and
to
you
be
walk
my
away.
approach before, like I remember I went to DSTV sometime, I was doing an event. So my event was branded Camville Costume Carnival. So when I approached them to sponsor, they were like, we don't do this kind of events. But the lady was actually nice when I walked in, nice bag, nice. But when I sit down, she looks at the proposal, she's like, we don't do this kind, we don't like to be. Then I asked her, like, so should I make you the headline sponsor? I knew that's what they wanted. But I think she didn't want to tell me directly. But then when I went home, I was like, imagine the attitude. I took it personally.
Yeah.
But now if I had approached it that way, I would have gone back with that different approach that she was proposing. And then maybe also done,
Yeah, for example,
then
like
texted it.
at DSTV, all they want is to sell viewership,
Yeah.
right? Then at that point, quickly you twist it and say, you see, when people come, it's a Sunday. There will be men, there will be youth. They love sports, and on this specific day, I'm sure there are like 3 different sports activities happening. How about if you set up a screen with some activities showing, and it's a DSTV dome? Yeah. Now you're speaking to her language, because now when she goes back to defend the things, you're going to be like, listen, these people are going to have these so many people, and we can even create a DSTV dome. We just put up a tent, put screens, people come and watch soccer. They can advertise that there's going to be soccer by DSTV, and we get mileage. Now from a board's perspective, that's value. Oh, so people are going to come and watch DSTV. Oh, okay. So you've got to be prepared before you go in. Yeah. So how to counter rejection is first understand your what is your participation in the rejection. Because
you always feel
you're not the bad, you're not the worst. You're not the worst person. Really, did you wake up in the morning to be rejected? No. What role did you play in the rejection? Was it your poor delivery? Was it how you spoke? Was it how you handled the conversation?
Or not understanding
Yes.
what they need.
Were you late?
Yeah.
Sometimes we get rejected and we're not figuring it out. But listen, they told you be here at 1. You came at 2:30. So what do you expect them to say? Oh, thank you, you have the best idea. And some on principle, they will just reject you simply because of something very, very small. So understand it. What role did I play in the rejection? This was my role. I made this mistake. How do I be better for my next presentation? Let them hear about me from another source and say, that guy, really? I thought that babe, this is what they really. Okay. So the next time you reach out, or they could even reach out directly to you, like, hey, let's revisit that conversation, simply because they've heard you did better somewhere else.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you should never take rejection personally, but
It's not
actually
about you.
analyze. Then what about, like, you've been consistent for 10 years now, and you are blew my mind was the fact that you were able to be consistent for 4 years even without breaking even, making money. I would wonder, or even people in the audience would wonder, how are you able to stay consistent with Bacha Nation?
Again, like I said, it's not us. It's not about us. So I've come to learn that the reason why certain things stay relevant is when they are not controlled. Yeah?
Okay.
So something like Bacha Nation is out there. Yeah?
So it can fly.
Let
No
it
one
fly.
is holding it back.
Try and give the direction. Try and let it be like you see when you pour water, yeah, on the ground, and it's making its way. If you want it to go a certain way, you'll dig that trench earlier. Yeah. So you keep directing it where you want it to go. No one ever told you to drink Coke, right? However, all they do is show you a bottle of Coke
All
next
the
to
time.
a very nice plate of food.
Yeah.
So when you enter a restaurant, you go like, and a Coca-Cola, or and a Pepsi. You get me? So it's really, you have to figure out a way you can stay relevant, one. And being relevant means, are you addressing the people's needs and wants? Are you satisfying them to a certain level, right? If you're not, how can you work on it? Two, you have your set goals. You might adjust them a little to accommodate few things that are coming in here and there, but don't deviate. Because the reason people started following you or subscribing to you was because they believed in something. When you deviate from it, they will also, because for them
They're there for that thing. You can add on things, but
exactly,
do not
don't try and
course.
don't feel like this thing is so ballistic. Yeah. Recently, somebody commented on our post and said, Bacha Nation now became a party. You even have artists from other regions. It's no longer about Bachiga. But let's calm down. One, you're saying Bacha Nation, but that's not Bacha Nation. That's the festival by Bacha Nation. Do you understand the difference? Yeah. Bacha Nation is a social impact movement geared at celebrating the Chiga culture with its people. Its people, some are in Chigezi, some are in Buganda, some are in Asia, they're all over. Yeah? And they're dealing with different people. Now, if I'm a Mchiga and I'm married to a Muganda, why do I leave my Muganda at home and go and attend my function alone?
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't make sense.
But if the Muganda comes, she would also like to have.
She will also want to.
enjoy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, if we are diverse and we are celebrating culture and our tradition in a diverse way, all right? Two, but that's Bacha Nation, which does a social event called Rukunde Gume, which means let love prevail. And love has no boundaries.
Yeah.
Yeah? So do you know that part? Do you understand it? Or you're speaking from a point of emotion
Personal point of
and
view.
misinformation?
Yeah.
Yeah? So I went back and commented and said, Rukunde Gume is a social festival by Bacha Nation. And like the word says, let love prevail. Love knows no boundaries. You're complaining that Bacha Nation brings artists, for example, who are not from Buganda, correct? But Bacha Nation is organizing a festival in Buganda. Why aren't you complaining on that part, for
Yeah,
example?
exactly. So should we go back to Chigezi?
You get me?
And
The
now-
reason why we are celebrating here is because these people don't know us. Let's celebrate with them. You're talking about, artists, and I'm like, but you're the people that will come at 9 p.m. because of the FOMO. But there's people that have been here from midday, listening to Ebishakuzo, which are riddles, dancing, eating the local food,
Enjoying
embracing their culture,
Yeah.
busy in the cultural village, doing all these different cultural activities. Or do you even know how the program runs? Because how the program runs is culture from morning up to 7. After 7, we have now mainstream entertainment. Because you're not going now to explain to somebody who has been drinking and tweeted, for example, they are tired. You're not going to tell them, shaku shaku, which is the starting of a riddle, right?
Yeah,
At that time.
Shambajira.
Right now, it's about entertainment. It's now a jolly moment. So you're dealing with all those people. Now, those are part of the challenges.
Yeah.
But yet, you're supposed to also explain to that person and they understand, but without condemning them, but rather just
Showing
them
opening
this is
your-
how it
this is
happens.
how it is.
Then the person said, "Oh, now it makes sense." You're like, okay. So
you
all
have
you
to be
needed
in
was
continuous communication
exactly.
and open and clear communication. What is your why? Like, why Bacha Nation?
Really, yes, it was because of that thing, the French club. But really, why is because my grandparents were raised in Kabale. They gave birth to my parents, but they moved, right, to Kamwenje, which is Toro. So, like it or not, there's some there's a break in culture
Yeah.
because you're now in Batoro. My parents grew up, come and settle in Kampala.
So they grew up in Kamwenje
Yes.
and then they moved to Kampala.
Now my grandparents
Your
stayed
parents,
there.
your parents.
So you're moving to Kampala, now you're living in Buganda. Definitely your first language is not really going to be Ruchiga. It's going to come second or something. Now I have cousins who live in the diaspora UK. Now they're also going to have children. At what point do we all connect back to home?
To the roots.
Because, like it or not, my village is now Kamwenje, which is in Toro. I speak Rutoro. I have an Impako. I am in Kampala. The first language my kids are going to learn is definitely going to be English, Luganda, because of their environment,
Yeah.
and then Ruchiga will come in there somewhere.
Somewhere, yeah.
I am busy, I'm living life, I'm trying to provide, blah, 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 blah. There's no time to be grounded enough to teach them who they are and what they need to know about themselves. So why not create a platform where we all meet? And through that, I get to know that Shaku Shaku is a riddle.
And I say Shambajira.
Exactly.
And then
Let me get to know that Echizino is like this. Not waiting for a traditional function at my home, and then I bring a troupe, they're dancing, and I'm also there trying to jump left, right, and center. Yeah? How can we create a platform? So that was the why. Yeah? And also understanding that I call it migration. When you migrate, you've lost that touch, but also because you've settled in a land that is not yours, yeah, you're guarded.
yes. You
So
cannot truly be yourself, you cannot be them.
Yeah.
You're in the middle. Is that what you're
Yes,
saying?
and the way our community is, everyone is in a fence. So the only way I'm going to know the roots of my neighbor 2 times. That's if you ever get invited, but you can still find out. When they lose somebody and you go there, then you know who they are. Or when they have a party, then you know who they are. Outside of that, you'll never know. Yet when you go back in the villages, you'll drive miles and miles and your parents will tell you, you see that house there? That's this so-and-so's house. This is so-and-so. So they knew each other,
Yeah.
which brought togetherness, which brought solidarity, which we don't have in the urban areas. We literally do not have
Everybody's
it.
trying to be
Even
alone.
when we all have these estates we live in, and there's like that WhatsApp group you're all on, guys are complaining about electricity when it goes off. They want to kill the LC when they are hearing someone was like. There's nothing about can we get to know each other.
Yeah.
They will come together when someone loses somebody, and really, if I have to, yeah. So I was like, how can we create that space and where we know we love each other, yeah? And how else can we do it even outside when the event is done and we go? How do I meet Doreen and know she's Mchiga and I appreciate that she's Mchiga? Can we do merchandise that is shouting? Actually, where I picked the idea of branded merchandise was off the Muslim fraternity. Because a Muslim will be dressed in a kanzu or in a sharia. They don't have to know you're Muslim. But if you're dressed, the first
They'll
thing they will
treat you
say
like
is
Assalamu
Assalamu alaikum.
Yeah.
Or if he just realizes you have the black guy, or if you have the chibiyad, it's like Assalamu alaikum,
Yeah.
Seka, that kind of thing. Oh, Hajat, that kind of thing. I don't need to know your name, who you are, where you come from, or by virtue of knowing that you're from my same belief, I'll respect you, I'll care for you, I'll open up to you, which I felt we needed in an urban setting, which was not there. We all meet on the street, bang shoulders if you're really working. But right now, when you're dressed in a Bacha Nation t-shirt and I met you, I'll be like, hey, Agand, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And if you don't know the language, you figure it out, you know? Or so,
but at least that's the starting
point. That's the starting point of how can we celebrate togetherness, unity, and solidarity.
Let's talk about legacy. What do you want to be remembered for?
I'm still young to discuss legacy. They speak of legacy when I talk of serious people like the late Professor Mutebile, the late Shaka Sali. Those are serious people.
20 or 10 years from now, we're going to be talking legacy because, I mean, you're in the steps of literally being... You've already actually left. You've been a trailblazer. Perhaps maybe you're not aware yet, but I might awaken you to that realization. Yeah. But when you think about yourself as a person, who you are, what would you like to be remembered for? Like, what impact? What did you do? Or, yeah.
I would say I want to be remembered for reviving culture. Because I believe the backbone of every society is culture and tradition. Yeah? And those are two different. Yeah? And culture transcends borders, transcends... It's pretty much what we believe. Yeah? As Africans, yeah? If you hear a sound of a drum, you don't need to be told it's time to dance. It is within us, yeah, to be happy, to dance, to respond to rhythm, yeah. So I would just want to be remembered for that.
As somebody who
revived culture within within the young people, within my generation, because I've been privileged to receive requests that, like, why is this one coming to me, you know?
But because of what you do,
exactly,
like your purpose.
Yeah, and not saying that they are talking to me. No,
they're talking to the Bacha Nation.
Yes, they are trying to reach out to Bacha Nation. We want to do something like this for Chikuyu. Now that's Kenya.
This is interesting.
There's this thing. Can we do it in Zulu? Can we, like, really? What are we doing? You know? So it humbles you to understand that it's really not about you.
This is bigger than you.
Yeah.
Actually, it's not about you.
Yeah, it's not about you.
Like,
there are people...
This thing is moving through you. Like, through you, but not about you.
I'm certain if you went back 10, 12 years ago, there's going to be very few organization names, brand names that have something to do with nation across Africa. But somehow,
right now,
there are all sorts of nations. Swahili nation, Sese nation. There's nation. I don't think it's a coincidence.
No.
Probably it's even not because of Bacha Nation, but because of how a brand sounds, yeah, people pick it up. I'm sure there are people that have done cultural festivals across Africa that are not anywhere connected to,
But I
are inspired because
Right.
they've seen what
You're doing.
Bachiga Nation has become. Not what I'm doing, what Bachiga Nation is
has
doing.
become.
Yes.
True.
So I think what I would wish my legacy to be is remembered for kickstarting. I think it was there, just kickstarting
Accelerating.
that movement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Being a catalyst.
Being a catalyst.
Culture.
Because in the last 10 years, I've seen people appreciate culture, embrace culture, and in a cool way. Because we've made it cool. Yeah? I'll wear my Bachiga Nation t-shirt and I'll be kawa. I'll wear slang that is in my language and it is kawa. There's a famous word for the youth here from the West where they ask, when are you getting married? Yeah? No shwera yard.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, those
before it wasn't as cool to just say certain
things,
words.
Yeah, if someone will be like,
Eh.
why are you asking me?
Choya mawe. You know, but it's now people are more confident, are more proud of their cultures, and they're no longer ashamed about them. Yeah.
So, Owen Vigombe, what is your success formula? I mean, we've had this conversation, and in my opinion, and I'm sure in the opinion of the Bachiga Nation people, this has been more than a success. I mean, you're celebrating 10 years. Success on so many fronts. There were challenges, but you still were able to overcome, to grow, and to actually stay in the game for 10 years. I feel like that alone is success. What would you say is Owen Vigombe's success formula?
I don't think there's an Owen Bigombe success formula, honestly. I think, one, the success of Bachiga Nation has been majorly the people. It's been majorly the people. Without the people, Bachiga Nation wouldn't be where it is. Yeah? It's been people driven from day one, and it's still people driven. It's like a magnet. I don't know where people come from. I don't like, it's like attracting everyone from left, right, and center, right? That's been the success of Bachiga Nation. I don't want to say there's something called the Owen success, because what has happened now to Bachiga Nation has not been Owen. There's Owen, there's a partner, there's a team, there are stakeholders.
So what would you say?
There's a group of boys
okay.
from Naguru area. And this is where I say it's really not about you. We call them kadogos.
Okay.
We don't know where they came from. But they will show up before the event, a day before, and they will ask what they can do. You tell them, okay, musobola kukolaki? Hey, we can move tents, we can move what? Those boys have now literally built an ecosystem around the presence of events, to a point that they're at every event. They are now service providers on top of them being kadogos, because kadogo means a young person trying to earn a living. Yeah, in Luganda, they'll come, do all the heavy lifting, and while the event is happening, they will have a pile of chairs. They're the ones hiring out chairs to people who want to sit. And they will come and pay for it. They'll come and say, we want to vend. And they pay to be vendors. They will go negotiate with the person who has the chairs, but they've built an ecosystem. Yeah? But from such platforms. So those are the people that are the success of Bachiga Nation. It can't be me.
So
I don't think those people will come because of
Owen. That
Owen.
hold the formula.
Yes, it's definitely not me. I don't think I even have the slightest of the formula. Because with those people away, you don't have it working. Because then when they are pulled out of the equation, who is going to do the heavy lifting when you think about it? Because all these things are happening.
Because you're not even paying them. Like they are.
No, we pay them
Okay.
for that work.
Okay.
We pay them. But they also pay for being service providers. For now chairs, which is the difference. Interestingly, this morning, the guy called and like, hey, mwami owe no sibyo nalabye advert kati nze mbadde nsaba nga bulijjo njagala kukola.
So you've been with them for 10 years. Wow.
So that is the success. It's definite. They are definitely not coming because of me.
They're coming because of the people, the event,
the movement,
the vibe.
It's actually a movement. It's not really. I can't say there's a success. I have a success plug of drink this 2 times a day or work. There's nothing.
You're just in the flow, I guess. Maybe.
Yes.
You're divinely.
But
you are.
Maybe
really
what I can say is, be honest, hardworking, and in whatever you do it for, I don't know if it is in the Bible where I say do this service for others, or it is
service.
I think it's a Rotary.
Self.
That's Rotary. A service above self.
Scouts or something.
So, if whatever you're doing is for the people or for people, you'll always want to do better because they are challenging you. For every time you're doing something for yourself, you're thinking about, how am I making more money? How am I bettering this? And yet your person next to you is thinking, how do I? Because there are 2 things. We could all have these 2 glasses, right? This has some soda, that has some soda. But me, my goal is, how do I get this soda? How do I make the most money out of this soda? Meaning, it's up for bid. Who is willing to pay the highest? And you, on the other hand, same quantity, you're like, how many people can get the taste of this? Now, where mine will fail, I'll be paid $1,000 for this, but that will be to one person, and they will go. You, on the other hand, you've given at probably $10 to 10 people to test. You have 10 people talking about your product. I have 1 person talking about my product. And because they've bought it expensively, they want to brag. So the chances of them talking about the product is quite less. These others, they're talking about the experience. We had that drink. It was so nice. This was like, I bought the most expensive drink.
Maybe you can't afford it. Like, it's exclusive. It's
exactly.
Yeah.
So if you're doing anything, whatever it is you're doing, do it for the people. If you're doing a job, you're an accountant, do whatever you're doing as though your life depended on it. You'll see the success.
What is your last message to the audience, and mostly to entrepreneurs that are watching us right now?
I believe everyone is an entrepreneur. The difference is our capacity and then our level of mentorship. Some don't have the access, some don't have the capacity, but we all can do something, because I believe entrepreneurship comes from something you feel you can do easily. Yeah? If you love to eat, that means if you open up a restaurant, you'd make money. If you love to cook, same thing.
Yeah.
If you love to drive,
Same thing.
you love cars, you know?
You love sleep.
You have sleep.
Hotel,
As in, you would be obsessed with a beautiful bedroom, right? Either you're going to enter interior design, or you're going to enter doing bedroom things, but you're going to do something. My advice is very simple. Cultivate that passion that you have. Find partners that you can trust. And don't stop learning. enjoy the mistakes because they set the platform for the wins. So if you stay disgruntled, you're not going to. If somebody steps on your foot and goes, it's two things. Your first reaction is always good, like, "Ay, you stepped on me." But how you react after that will then determine, right?
Yeah.
Another person will be like, how are you walking? Can't you see this is a way? Da, 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 da. Fine. Another person like, you've stepped me. Maybe I was standing badly. Yeah, I shouldn't have stood like that. Probably next time I need to wear better shoes so that if I'm going in a busy place, they might. You start thinking
Go
of
another person,
solutions.
just look at like, oh, it's fine.
Yeah.
Anyway, let me move
So
on.
an entrepreneur is a solution maker.
Yeah.
Look for a problem, create the solution. Bacha Nation, the problem, or not the problem,
The gap.
the gap
Yeah.
was hunger for our culture, hunger for feeling home. Yeah? Then Bacha Nation came. Now it's the solution. I'm fed. Yeah? The reason why a guy will wake up in the morning and succeed with a car wash is because our roads will always have potholes. The cars will always be dirty.
Yeah.
So if I have a good car wash, I'll get the money. So an entrepreneur is supposed to be a problem solver. You just have to learn how to commercialize it.
Yes, absolutely. Because most entrepreneurs are so passionate about solving the problem than also being mindful and actually very savage about the business side, because that's the bloodline of literally entrepreneurship and business.
Because people don't care.
Yeah.
They don't care. If you fail to deliver because you didn't have money, they move to the next person who is delivering.
And maybe
So-
they might not have a good service like you or product.
Yeah.
So where can people actually connect with you?
Personally or Bacha Nation?
Bacha Nation, or even personally. if you
Bacha
don't
Nation
mind.
is all over social media.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bacha Nation is all over social media. Yeah, on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I'm on social media as well. But if you put my name, you'll find me. Yeah. Or my handle is BVUVU. Yeah.
And that was it for the show. Thank you so much for watching Success Theory. I remain Dorothy Kamarunga. Follow us and subscribe on our YouTube handle Success Theory and all our social media, TikTok and everywhere else. Until next time, bye.